Hello, epic viewers from around the multiverse. Prepare to bask in unprecedented glory, because today I'm going to elucidate why I should never be an employee. And I'm also going to shed light on my experience as an employee. Unfortunately, to my dismay, at this juncture, I work 3 private sector jobs. It debilitates me, it renders me frazzled, fatigued, vitiated, torpid, and lethargic. At this juncture, I am sick, my throat is inflamed, it's in chronic pain every time I swallow, and induces severe, dire, insufferable inflammation, but it is what it is. It feels like I have needles lodged in my throat each and every time I swallow, but it's my issue and not yours. So, as an employee, you only get a pittance, you only get an iota of the remuneration or revenue you generate for the company. You may provide them with $50 worth of value. In spite of this, they may only pay you close to minimum wage. It is what it is. Employees are also taxed the highest. There's over 13,000 tax codes. So it's just a deterrent to work when you're preordained to get extorted out of a significant amount of your pittance of income. It truly disincentivizes you to want to work, and employees get taxed the highest. In the US, there's 8 forms of income tax, so it's quite unfortunate, but it is what it is. And at the expense of your wealth, happiness, dignity, your hard-earned fiat currency is being remitted into the bank accounts of others, and you're subsidizing their amenities, and you're funding their luxuries so they can indulge in the accoutrements of the higher life while you succumb to incessantly working to fund their expenses. And just that thought alone truly irritates me and agitates me and just deters me from wanting to work, because why should I slave away, desist from getting REM sleep, and have no purview over my time when nearly all my money is going to get extorted out of me and re-emitted to the utmost unproductive people who don't generate a modicum of economic productivity. So it's truly a deterrent. So I don't envision myself working 3 private sector jobs that much longer. I mean, at this juncture, I'm getting next to no REM sleep, 1 to 3 hours a night, if that. It's causing me to become sick. Even though I have the highest possible scores at my job, they don't like the idea that I come in tardy. They don't apprehend that I work 3 jobs, and that drains all my time, and it makes it arduous in a punctual manner. But if I'm just even a few minutes late, then I'm more prone to get written up for being late. They're stringent about getting there on time, and I understand that it's a business, and the overarching goal of a business is to maximize their profits, but at the same time they should be able to make a small concession and accommodate their employees who they pay next to nothing. So if you think that getting paid minimum wage or close to minimum wage or slightly more than minimum wage or even double minimum wage is a good salary, then you're delusional. Kylie Jenner, she's slated to be the world's youngest billionaire. For an Instagram post, to get 1 product placement on her Instagram page, you have to pay her $1 million just so she can post 1 Instagram photo of your company's products. That's real money right there. That's real fiat currency. And even though she has to succumb to paying taxes, at least the amount of money she earns is so lofty that she's still well off, in spite of being taxed on her hard-earned income. But if you earn a pittance of wealth, taxes are truly detrimental to your monetary well-being. But no one should be taxed. I mean, it is extortion. It's a violation of the non-aggression principle, and it's completely sadistic. You know, that other people, against their own volition, are extorted out of their hard-earned wealth. You know, everything should be based on voluntary transactions. All transactions should be compliant to the non-aggression principle. But it is what it is. I'm an indentured servant, unfortunately. Moving on, so if you work for an employee, you have no purview over your time. You get written up if you're tardy. You earn a pittance of remuneration. You reach a glass ceiling in terms of your earnings. And you're going to do a job that most likely induces misery, agony, and that renders you discontent with your life because you're doing something that doesn't render you elated nor euphoric. And you have to deal with livid, irate customers who vector the rage, animus, rancor, and spite towards you each and every day, you know, and who threaten you. But it is what it is, you know. I'm accustomed to it, unfortunately. Being self-employed can be a debilitating prospect, but at least you know that you're fostering brand growth, cultivating brand equity, building your brand recognition, building your brand loyalty, growing your target market and your customer base, and you're doing something that's somewhat self-fulfilling that can perhaps provide you with a modicum of agency, and there's no glass ceiling. So even though the disparity between being self-employed while starting out and working versus working for someone else during your first few years while entering the workforce can be enormous, the gap will shorten as you put years into growing your brand. So be self-employed on the side. My experience as an employee has been anything but salubrious. It's been insalubrious and abysmal. I do like my coworkers, don't get me wrong, but the crux of the issue is I'm doing a job that doesn't I'm working jobs, I should say, that don't provide me with a modicum of agency. I have no purview over my time, and the jobs encroach on my sleep schedule, my eating schedule, and my ability to just pursue my self-employed endeavors, and my ability to exercise, alleviate stress, and get caught up on other aspects of my life. You know, my bucket list has yet to be tapped into. All I do is work, but that's what happens when you go into school for 3 decades to earn a doctorate. As you know, when you're indebted, your negative net worth is further plunging into the abyss each and every day. Interest is incessantly accruing into the principal, and it becomes an insurmountable issue to overcome. So there's no fruitful long-term benefit per se of being an employee relative to put in years into your self-employed endeavors that could allow you to generate passive income, residual income, grow a brand, and help billions of people through the power of internet marketing and global distribution. So entrepreneurship is the way to go. Do it on the side, minimize your capital investment into your own brand. You can slowly grow, and in the interim, in the meantime, if you need something to help you get out of debt and pay your bills, you could work as an employee, but It's not recommended if you could afford to otherwise not do so. You only relinquish your time for fiat currency when you absolutely have to. And unfortunately, food is exorbitantly priced. The internet is exorbitantly priced, even though it costs your ISP a penny to service the internet, and they charge you over 6,000% markup. That's a story for another day. And of course, you know, the bills people pay are eminently expensive and lofty, so it's ill-advised to be an employee, primarily because you have no purview over your time, you don't drive any agency from it, you're not fostering your own brand, your earnings are capped. The disparity between the job you work as an employee and the next highest position on the totem pole is relatively low relative to what you could potentially be earning as an entrepreneur. And it just deters you from wanting to work and show up to work when you're preordained to get extorted out of so much of your wealth, because there's over 13,000 tax codes that siphon your wealth and cause your money against your own volition under duress to be re-emitted into the bank accounts of others at the expense of your wealth, happiness, and dignity and freedom. You're subsidizing other people's lifestyles and paying for their amenities, their luxuries, and their accoutrements. So it is what it is, I suppose. So my experience as an employee has been abysmal. I've met amazing people. However, I just don't derive any agency from the job, or I should say, I don't derive any agency from any of the jobs I work, and the pay is just pitiful, to say the least. And I only eat 3 meals a week. I barely get any sleep, and it's just a recipe for disaster. So I hope that one day I can no longer be saddled with debt and have the luxury of being able to be self-employed full-time and grow my own brands and provide unprecedented value to the multiverse and no longer be enslaved to this extent. I hope that you found this video to be fascinating and enthralling. Always demonstrate the utmost highest level of moral rectitude and always provide unprecedented value to the multiverse. I'll make an earnest, valiant attempt to grow my brands, even if further truncates my sleep schedule and my sleep time. Have a wonderful, blissful day and a glorious 2019. Goodbye.